Yay, it worked.
I could see before I joined it, it does then
said it was recording. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe that's why. I don't know, because it's not like it doesn't tell you. Who cares? I don't know why it does it, but every time I have to be like, I'm so sorry, we click out. And I push the stuff to the very last minute, and then I'm like quickly rushing off to go in. And so someone's always waiting for me. I'm sorry. Okay, so I have had such a great response to people wanting to be on the show that I just have no time to look up who it is that I'm talking to. So would you mind telling me about yourself just a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine. So I am Sam Morris. I know it says Samantha, which is only what my mum calls me. I am a healthy relationships and sex coach.
Oh, I love this.
Which I've been doing for 10 years. It was 10 years in October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, which is I never meant to do it, and I kind of fell into it. So,
you're like, oh, this is an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, and now it's 10 years later, and I'm like, oh wow, it's 10 years, and because I've been saying for so long, oh, I've been doing it for nearly 10 years, and then when it hit that, I was like, wow, 10 years is like a really long time.
It is a long time, yeah.
So yeah, so I have been doing it for a really long time. It kind of started, it was like a mixture of things where I was in a job that I hated. I originally studied law, and it was just not for me. It's too black and white, and not much in between, and that's not really the person that I am. So I was kind of desperately searching to get out of the criminal justice system, and ended up being in the criminal justice system by getting employment in a prison.
Oh.
So yeah, and obviously you see a lot of things in prison.
You do.
Yeah. And I met this person that he was going to be in prison for a long time. In the UK, we do tend to get out of prison rather than, I know in America, the sentences are a lot longer than ours. But he was really down on himself. He's being really, really depressed. And he was like, well, my life's over. And he was only young. He's like 21. And I said to him, well, you've got two options, really. You can spend the next however many years feeling depressed and sitting in your cell and not doing anything. Or you can take advantage of what life has thrown at you. And you can go and you can get a job in prison. You can go do programs that people outside of prison can't do. You can learn how to manage your anger, and you can leave this place with education to set you up in the best possible way. It's up to you. And he went away from that conversation and did everything that I kind of told him to do. And I went away from that conversation going, wow, I'm actually quite good at speaking to people.
Right. Yeah, you're like, I think I might have a gift.
Yeah. So then I just I started to retrain. I started looking into it, and when I started retraining, I got onto the section about healthy relationships and realized that I wasn't in one. And so that whole conversation that changed his life changed mine, because I actually left my marriage from going through that process.
Yeah.
And I think doing that made me a better person, for one.
Yeah.
Made me a lot happier.
Yeah.
But it also made me better at being able to kind of empathize with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's so weird how once you experience something that you didn't ever think you would experience, and you kind of go through the dark, how much of a beacon you become for other people who need that light.
Yeah. It was just bizarre that, because I was kind of telling other people, oh, you should do this, and I was a hypocrite.
Yeah, well, you were, I'm sure, feeling very incongruent. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
People might be coming from inside the house.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of ended up here. And yeah, I went through a whole kind of healing myself process to get to where I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you work in the prison?
2 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I had so my mom was incarcerated a lot and was incarcerated when she died, and I used to have a deep burning desire to work with inmates. But then before healing, I really went through anger and lost sight of humanity for a little bit. And so I was like, mm-mm. And now like I feel that pulling again, like just a little bit of like how can I do that in a way that makes me feel safe? But like because the prisons in Oklahoma are scary as fuck because they're overcrowded and underfunded. And
Yeah.
I'm really cute, so I'm a little nervous to go up in there with the type of protection that they offer. So I'm like, we'll figure that out. But yeah, I think it's so wild how much something hurts us, and then we become so grateful for the experience because we got to transform in a way we never would have if we hadn't gone through that. I am curious though, because I have a lot of coaches on here and a lot of spiritual people on here and a lot of love people. I just hung up with somebody who does love shit, but you are the first who does any sort of sexual side of relationship healing. I would really love to hear about that.
So, yeah, it is a part of the training. And when you're training, you have to learn how to ask people how often they masturbate, which generally in society, people don't talk about
I
that.
do not.
No. And it's a whole different kind of way of talking. And I taught myself by looking in the mirror and asking over and over again to keep my face straight, where you don't do this whole, oh, this is awkward.
Yeah.
And it became quite fascinating because when you say to people about their sexual experiences, if you start off by saying, this is going to be really awkward for you, it's not awkward for me because I'm used to asking these questions. I need to ask these questions, but I understand that it may take you a minute to catch up to where I'm at. If we need to stop at any point, we can. Surprisingly, so many people, once they feel like, oh, actually, I can talk about this,
Safe, yeah.
then they go for it, and they will talk about kind of their experiences, their fantasies, and then they kind of look to you to see, like, is that okay?
Yeah, like, is that weird? I've had clients be like I have one of my little babies. She one day was like, "Well, I mean, I can tell you this. You're my therapist," and I was like, "Yeah." I had no idea what she was about to say, but it was something so fucking small about being horny, and I was like, "Wow." I'm like starting to see how much shame humans carry for normal sexuality. Like we were meant to have a wide range of sexuality, and it is fluid if you would allow it to be, and you can do kind of whatever the fuck you want within, like, you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
like these normal human things people fantasize about, like they carry so much fucking shame. Even just the amount, like I was just 2 people ago saying, like, I own the fact that I'm a very hypersexual person. I've always been this way. I love sex and I'm pretty free spirited about it. But like, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna waste my time sitting around hating myself about that. Like,
no,
yes, I know that I had to unravel a little bit of shame to get here, but like mostly not, like yes, I was taught all these like religious things and stuff, but thankfully that wasn't one that like well, there was some shame. I was actually caught masturbating once when I was really young, and it wasn't like a lot. I had kind of just put my hand down my pants and I think I was just touching just a little bit, and my grandma opened the door, and I was like, my hand was under the blanket, but she could see where it fucking was, and she was like, "Ah, Missy, shame on you." That's what she said to me. Bitch, shame on me for what the fuck? First of all, I just started, so thanks. But like, I mean, I was like 7. Like, why are you fucking shaming me? And I like made a decision right then. I don't give a fuck what my kids do when I have kids. I will never make them feel ashamed of this. I mean, I did have to have that's more of a private situation. You can do that all you want, but in your room is better, not here, but that's fine. But like, what the fuck? No wonder we're all walking around like, I'm not supposed to be horny.
Yeah. And I think there is this whole narrative that women should not want the same things as men.
Yes, there is.
I don't know whether that's from whether it's from school where they taught the boys differently, and it was very much like you need to use protection. And like my sex education at school was, because I went to a religious school, you don't do it unless you're married, and that's it. I don't think it's a coincidence that like within my year, I think 4 of us had babies before we were 20. So,
right.
Probably
that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
We're not gonna not do it. Yes, I know people do it, but so the people who actually wait till they're married, very small percentage. And most of the time their sex lives aren't real great.
No. And then there's the whole, men need more sex than women. And that isn't true.
That destroyed me, because then when I married someone who had a very hyposexual life because he's avoidant, what do you think that made me feel? Like I was fucking nasty piece of trash, and that's the only reason he didn't want to fuck me. I mean, period. That's what I thought. And I was like, oh my God, that's where my shame came from. How much I wanted sex, but was not desired. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's really hard because sometimes if people have been together a long time and they stop having sex, it's not because the man wants sex more than the woman. Something else is going on there.
Something's happening, yeah.
And people don't realize that. And I get a lot of people that will say to me, oh, well, what is a healthy sexual relationship? What does that actually mean? And I would say, well, one, obviously it has to be legal.
Yeah. Yeah. There's your first step. That's a great first step. Yep. Yeah. Reality of it.
Let's deal with that. But it doesn't have to, it shouldn't hurt anyone else. And that could mean if you have a partner and you are masturbating on a daily basis and they don't know about it, if they found out about it and it would hurt them, then that's not a healthy sexual relationship.
Right.
Like there's nothing wrong with masturbation.
Right.
But if you're doing it in secret,
right, where you're having to hide it and all of that, then there's something else happening. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I didn't realize how many women were in the same position I was when I was married to my ex. And that, I mean, I remember I was still pretty religious then, and I was at church one time, and once again there was a sermon directed at women not withholding sex from men, that like that's your wifely duty and it's not fair, like blah 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 blah. And I just started bawling because I was like, okay, well, can you come fucking tell my husband that, please? Because I would never dream of saying fucking no. Like, we're only fucking once every 5 weeks. Like, why can we not do it more? Like, why are you making me feel like a piece of shit whenever I want to have sex, you know?
But there's also with him, if he'd have said that to another man, they would have made him feel bad as well. Like, what's wrong with you?
Absolutely. Like,
putting it on the plane.
Why do you have sex all the time and you don't want to? What's that about? Yeah. I mean, I don't think he ever talked to anyone about, and in fact, it's just like the more I know about ADHD and autism and avoidance, I understand so much better about everything that happened in our relationship. And of course I have remorse because I wasn't a healthy version of myself either. So like everything he did to me was an attack on me. But now in hindsight, I know what all of it was. But for so long, when I went through the divorce crazies, pretty much just fucked anyone who was willing to fuck me, because I was like, oh my God, I am attractive. I mean, I had a narrative my whole fucking life before him that I was not attractive or sexy or any of those things. And so that's how like I felt and embodied that. But now I'm like, If you want to fuck, great, but like it's not, it's that's more of just a chemistry. It's not about me, it's not about anything, you know, like it doesn't, my worth isn't tied up in whether or not somebody else wants to have sex with me. It's just not. But God, for so long it was, and now I can feel zero shame about any of it, because I was created as a sexual being, and I can be as sexual as I want and do whatever I want, as long as I like am honest about it and my partner's okay with it.
And that's because you put the work in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh yeah. It used to be way different.
Yeah.
God, yeah. I can't say that I ever really felt like I was bad for wanting sex so much. I just felt like it was unusual, like I'm not the normal woman, and but that something must be wrong with me if this man who is supposed to want sex 24/7 is not matching my energy. Like, oh, I fucked up. Oh, okay. When now I realize that was all about him and I'm all about me, you know?
Yeah. But I was like the opposite with my ex-husband. But I had a lot of female friends around me that constantly talked about sex.
Yeah.
And I used to just sit there and not really get involved in the conversations, because I would make out that I was awkward, but obviously I wasn't actually that awkward. It was just, I didn't have anything to say.
Because
And
you
also,
didn't like it.
well, it wasn't that. It was, there was obviously a lot of problems in the relationship that I wasn't at that point ready to recognize. And I didn't feel close to him.
You weren't safe.
So,
Yeah.
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 And obviously, like, I've listened to a couple of your episodes about when you was a child and trauma and things like that. And I have a lot of trauma as well. So that kind of fed into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, at the time, it's hindsight, isn't it? It's afterwards when you start to grow and you're like, oh, that's why that happened.
I love
And
that.
now it's a completely different situation with my
Mhm.
husband. I got married again.
You got
Um,
your awakening. You
yeah,
felt some things open up. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, but in every way. And I think
Absolutely.
it's not just about the sex. We have a really great relationship, and therefore it flows very easily.
I think that your satisfaction in your sex life, whether like, because I know couples who they have sex once a week and they both are very in agreement with that. You know what I mean? So, whatever your satisfaction level is, when it is met, it's very indicative of every other part of your relationship.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, I will say this: when I was in survival mode in the darkest time of my life, we were still like having sex a lot, like more even, like probably 2 or more times a day, because I was just really like, I was using sex to numb, you know, but like, so it's not always indicative, but like, if you look at your relationship as a whole, your sex life is a part of that, and it reflects a lot of the other parts of your relationship. Like even the aftercare of sex, like what happens before and after sex, like how is it coming together, who's initiating, all of those things really do depend on the level of safety that you feel in that relationship. And that is not exclusive to women. Men have to feel safe that they can lose an erection and nothing's going to happen, or they can't get off, or they get off too fast and nothing about this relationship is going to change. Like that you love them independent of this experience, and that your sex life as a whole, it does not depend on one experience, you know?
everyone should be able to leave a sexual experience feeling happy, and no one should be going away from that second guessing what the other person's thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
It shouldn't even be a thought.
away and being like, oh, was that good for them? Was it not good for them?
Yeah.
And even if you are having those thoughts, you should be able to ask, because that
Yes.
I used to, and I don't really suffer from it anymore, but I had low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have low self-esteem, you constantly think the worst, and you
Yeah.
constantly think I'm not good enough and I'm not this. And being able to just say to people, because most people, I don't think I've ever had a bad response when I've said, not just about sex, but in general, when you say to people, oh, how do you think I did?
Yeah.
They are so shocked that you've asked anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But normally, even if something hasn't gone well, they will say it in a nice way and tell you how to improve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, being able to feel safe
Mm-hmm.
to ask those questions, and even if people don't, you know, they don't have the confidence, just actually forcing themselves to say, actually, I feel this way, and the person there is probably thinking something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So they've just had sex and he or she's feeling really sad and thinking, actually, that wasn't very good, or, you know, I don't feel good in myself. And then the other person is like, what are you talking about?
Like,
That was
I thought it
the
was so
best.
good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
and
it's
just
really
saying
a
it,
reflection of the way you feel about yourself.
yeah. But just being able to say it, and if you don't have the confidence to say it, pretend that you're somebody else that has confidence and blurt it out.
Yeah. Well, and my thing is this, like, I feel like everyone I talk to about this says the same thing. So I don't think I'm unique in this, but so much of my pleasure in the experience is wrapped up in their pleasure. Like, it's a very powerful feeling to know that you held the orgasm in your hand, or, you know, that you made them feel good. And then that's the energy that I get back. And I'm like, hell yeah, it's great. But, to get that, you know, you need a little bit of noise or some indication that you like what's happening. And, you know, I tend to fuck quiet people. So I'm like, does it feel good? I'm fine to ask that. Like,
Yeah.
like it? Like, what, you know, and they're like, then they know they need to do better at fucking saying what they like and don't like, because this is reciprocal. Like, I can't have full pleasure if I don't know that what you're doing is what you want to do. Like, because I'm more, and I think this is like just maybe my human design. Like, I'm more of a feed off of your energy in most cases than I am just to give the energy. Like, you know what I mean? So, especially in sex, it's really about like doing what you like if I like it too. And then if you like it, and let me know you like it, then I really like it. Like, that's how I've always been. But like, I gotta ask, you know, I'm like, is this working for you? Like, it seems like it is, but I just want a little reassurance, and I don't fucking feel bad for asking. You know, I'm like, hey, what are we doing? Is this good? What do we need to switch positions? Like, you know, what's going on here? But I would rather just say it than to like, is this going okay? You know?
Yeah, I think everyone needs to get better at having those conversations. And
I'm lucky because this is the one area I've never had a real
Yeah.
problem talking about with anyone. Like, once I got over the hump, I mean, I was definitely the friend who's like, tell me about your sex life, you know, like, and just fucking dissecting the shit out of it. Or just like, you know, when you have sex with someone new and you like are like describing everything about it to like your friends and shit. Like, now I kind of hate being the friend that people come to for that shit, just because I'm like, well, if you want to say it like a couple times, that's one thing, but like, I would like a more substantive like conversation than like how big your new boyfriend's dick is. But I mean, I do want to know. So like, you can tell me a couple times, or, you know, whatever, but I was always that person like, okay, let me tell you about what last night was, you know. But even in my relationships, once I got over any doubt that like the person I'm having sex with also wants my pleasure involved too, then it was just a matter of, okay, well, all I have to do is say something and whatever. I mean, there's plenty of other areas that I felt way more vulnerable to share. Like, I need help with something incredibly difficult for me. I hate saying it still. I don't want to ask for support. I want you to know I need it and give it to me. And I just like in the last few days have been recognizing like the opportunities, you know, that I've been presented with to have to ask for support. And I remember asking because I felt like I'm going to need that. So like, I'll ask, but I don't in this moment feel like your support's actually going to help me, but I feel like I'm supposed to ask, so I'm going to. And then being so glad I did. And so I'm learning to identify like, oh, I know I do need people to show up for me, and that's okay. That not everybody can show up, but like my partner is someone I need to be there at really important times. And the hurt that I lived, because this is my second marriage and we've been together for 15 years now. Well, for 14 and a half of those years, I just went along with shit and didn't ask for help, didn't ask for support. I mean, yes, in the little things like, will you make me food? Will you, whatever? I have no problem with that, baby. Like, yes, I'd love you to wait on me hand and foot. That's great. But like, in terms of like showing up for me inside here, I had such a hard time. And so just the other day when I had to say, like, I need you with me, it was so hard because I didn't understand why I needed that, because I've been conditioned to believe I need nobody or that I'm not supposed to anyway. And so I am grateful that I've learned, like, just ask and then you'll see why you need the support later. And now I'm kind of understanding like what it feels like when you don't have support, and all these years that I've sat and been so hurt and so resentful that he didn't show up for me, even though I knew damn well I didn't fucking ask him to. And no, it's not inherent for people to know how to be there for you. If you don't know how, you need them to be there for you.
Yeah, I get that, because I literally my whole life it's you can only rely on yourself,
Uh-huh.
and
Age of the world is on your shoulders alone. You're
yeah,
invincible. Yeah,
yeah,
too much and not enough, all at the same time. Yeah, and the work that I've done on myself, that I remember when the first time I was like, wait a fucking second. We're all doing the same exact shit. This isn't a me him problem. This isn't an us them problem. We are so much more fucking connected than I even realized, because when you scrape away the bullshit of what their experience looks like on the outside, what you get down to is we're all carrying those same shit narratives, the same exact ones. That's why, like, what I did this workshop, and I I will lure you in and then just start spitting off the narratives that we all carry. And people are like, how the fuck do you know that? You know, and I'm like, cuz I found this in myself and I started to be very curious and observant of everyone around me. And I was like, wait, you do it too. That's what that is. That's what that is. I can hear your shame when you talk. I can hear those core beliefs coming out of your mouth. And I mean, I can't rewire your brain for you. So, you know, I hope that you just take in and receive what I'm giving. But it is true. We are all like, we feel fundamentally at our core like we're unlovable, and that we're like at our core a giant fuck up who's never going to get anything right. And I think that's just what we tell ourselves to keep ourselves separated from our ideal self, because we're so fucking afraid to move.
yeah. Well, I think that our bodies are made to protect ourselves, and our brain is wired to protect us. So when we start to do something that our brain is like, no, this is unsafe, this doesn't feel right, this isn't okay, our brain automatically kind of shuts down. And that's where the fear comes in, and we're like, no, we don't need anyone else, we just need ourselves.
Yeah,
And it is just the
me.
body kind of reacting to fear. It's no different to if you're walking down the road and there's someone behind you and you like start feeling, oh, you're on your own,
Yeah.
and it's that sort of response.
I
It's
would
just,
say you're running from the bear. When that
yeah,
happens, you're running from the bear. There's no time for feelings when you're running from the bear, you know? And I think too, we get so wrapped up in our brain just to avoid the feeling. Like, I'm always telling my clients, like, okay, stop, because that's a lot of what ifs, and that's really unproductive. So what if the best case scenario was possible? Why are you so sure in this world, but you're not allowing yourself to be just completely delusional and say, the best could happen? I'm going to believe and assume that it will, and that we are so sure that the world's out to get us, you know, that nobody cares about us, and we are never going to be seen. We're going to just be these people who nobody loves. And man, when I started making better assumptions about people, like, it really helped. And I always say it's either that you are feeling rejected, abandoned, abused, neglected, or betrayed, or you are afraid that you're going to lose or be rejected, that you're going to lose this person or experience, or that something is rejecting you. And damn, how much do we do to cut ourselves off so that we can have that semblance of control? Like, I'm gonna fucking leave you before you can leave me, you know? Like, so much of my life was spent that way. So much. When I got here and I started looking backwards, I was like, oh, I had to start forgiving immediately, because I was like, oh, I have fucked everything up my whole life, you know? And I'm like, no. You couldn't have been anyone else. That was exactly who you needed at that time. That served you. You survived so much shit. But if you want to live and not just survive, you have to open yourself up to people and to yourself first. You have to fucking figure this shit out and love yourself. Like, low self-esteem, I so resonate with that. Like, it's hard for me to get people to understand the types of thoughts I had. I mean, I 100% had a belief that I was not just not like attractive, that I was ugly, that I was not pretty in any way, and that I was mean because I was so reactive to other people. And I hated my body no matter what it looked like. My first step to self-love really was like making peace with my body and understanding I have wild ass fluctuations in weight. Wild. Like, I can gain 20 pounds in 1 week, and I'm not kidding. And I do often. Like, if I'm not walking, like, I'll get like some edema, like not big, but like, you know, I will swell easily and all kinds of shit. I'll stop shitting and swell and whatever. And I can literally on the scale be 20 pounds heavier in 1 week's time. I can lose that amount of weight in a very short amount of time. I fluctuate very wildly, and I'm just here for the ride. Like, I'm doing the programming that I'm giving myself now is like, I crave healthy foods. You know, like when I eat, it nourishes me. And, you know, like, I'm making love with my food, man. Like, I'm just making it love me. It's just another expression of my love for myself. Not because I'm eating healthy all the time. Don't let me fucking fool you. I eat M&Ms like they're going out of style. But like, to incorporate more of the things that are good for my body, I just talk to myself about it. And I'm like, man, I love how my body responds when I eat fruit and when I eat vegetables and whatever. I'm still going to eat all the other shit, but I don't have to shame myself for it. And the way my body looks externally could just be, but how I feel internally is what is really important. And I started to notice like my stamina and things like that. Like, my adrenaline gets really high when I do public speaking stuff. So it's amazing and it's beautiful. But when I come down, it's a fucking crash. And I had to learn how to recover from that physically and emotionally. And it was the first one where I learned what triggers when I'm like bored, you know, like it feels like loneliness. And then I recognize it as boredom. And then further than that, it's chemical depletion. That's all it is. And I just have to replenish. Well, some of that has to involve replenishing my physical self with nurturing foods. Like, that's just how it is. So I do a little bit of comfort food and a little bit of food that's just going to make me feel good. And that's that. And now I'm learning there's a process. I have to rest afterwards, like, have to. Lights off. Don't fucking talk to me. I can zone out. I'm going to eat my little snacky poo. And then, like, within a few hours now I can recover. That first one took me 6 fucking days to recover from. And that's when I was like, baby, we got to eat better. Okay, them M&Ms aren't serving us well. Okay, honey, you can eat your M&Ms, but you're going to have to eat some fucking vegetables too. Like, go get you some broccoli, honey. If you want to put the M&Ms on the broccoli, that's fine. But you got to eat some broccoli.
Yeah. It's surprising how much food changes everything. I had I have a health condition that messes with my nose and my breathing.
Oh.
And I've had it, I say I've had it for a long time. I quit smoking and developed this problem. And I don't know whether the smoking
did it? Yeah. Yes. I had similar things. Yes.
So I've had 3 operations on my nose, and it is what it is. But I would get ill with like anyone's got a cough, anyone's got a runny nose near me, I will catch it, guaranteed, and then I'll be like laid up for 2 weeks. And then I randomly watched this Netflix program that it wasn't what I thought it was. I thought it was like a dieting program, and it wasn't. It was all about how bad meat is. And from that program, I decided that I wouldn't eat any meat that I didn't know what it had been fed on.
Right.
And so I just completely switched. It was quite difficult because a lot of places you have to ask a lot of questions. It can be quite awkward. But I completely switched to only grass-fed meat and only organic fruit and vegetables. Did loads of research about it. In my whole life, I don't think I've gone longer than like 3 months without having antibiotics. And then since I did this, it was my 1-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago of the last time I had antibiotics. And I haven't had antibiotics for a whole year.
That's so good.
Yeah. But I haven't been ill. Like I've caught little things. They're gone, and then
yeah. Yes, food makes all the difference. I remember doing this Mediterranean diet, and damn, I felt good. Like I remember how good I felt when I was doing that. And I mean, I'm not going to do it again probably, but like because I'm focused more on harm reduction right now because I just take little small shifts, and the first shift is in your mind, you know. So I'm doing that work yet, but not the hardest shit yet, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But I do notice that like if you just pay attention, and like human design told me like how best that I digest food, because I have so many digestive issues because all of my stress will fuck my stomach up so bad. And so I was like, I've thought that was because my mind says that like the lighting that I eat under is important, and that I need like to eat the bulk of my calories in the evening because I digest better then. And I had noticed when I did that unintentionally, I felt better. I had more energy during the day, and I don't have a crash. And then in the evening, when I'm supposed to be relaxing and stuff, it doesn't matter, and it will digest. And just in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten really good about just like, you know, taking in what my body feels like it can handle during the day, which is not much. It's just like toast in the morning and some snacks throughout like the afternoon. And then I'll eat dinner and whatever the fuck else, M&Ms, you know, at night. But like, I feel better because I'm not having all this sluggish up and down during the day.
Yeah. But I think we see stuff and then our life changes because of it, and it's supposed to happen. Because I obviously watched that thing, and you know, my husband will say it ruined our lives, but I'll say it made them better.
I love that. He's like, that's
my son has ADHD, and we had read before kind of about how diet affects ADHD and kind of dabbled a little bit. And then I watched this program, and because it made sense for all of us to change the way that we ate rather than just me, it has affected his ADHD as well in a much more positive way. And I just think things happen in our life, and then we're like, oh, I need to make some changes.
Yeah.
And we make those changes, and it just completely changes so many different things. That's not just with food. That's like what you were saying about when you start talking to yourself and you start kind of creating those positive outcomes, and then all of a sudden positive things start happening to you. You're putting it out there, you're making things better, but then you attract those same things, they come back. And it's just nice. I think, you know, like you said, where you've got to now started years and years ago.
Right.
And you wouldn't be who you are now if you hadn't have gone through that stuff. And I think we've all done that. It's just sometimes we need a little bit of kind of help to recognize actually you might need some support there, or actually you just need a coach or your friend or just someone to say
whoever.
you are great, you know, you look great, you are brilliant, your mind is amazing, and then to get you to keep saying those things to yourself.
Right. I think it started for me with just like a decision and then confirming that decision over and over and over, which is I will not talk shit about myself
Yeah.
internally or externally ever again. Now, does it happen on accident? Yeah, I'll think it for a second or I'll start to say it and then immediately eradicate it to where I'm like, nope, not true. Not true about me, because it's not true. My truth is that I'm human, and that means a lot of different things. And I am a complicated being, as we all are. I don't mean that negative. It's just you have to have a level of consciousness to understand any of the shit I talk about. But that doesn't mean anything. It just means I am who I am, and I recognize and embrace what all of my gifts are, and I'm really stepping into what I believe those gifts are, and they're very in alignment with my purpose. And that's what I'm doing here, is just trying to live out loud to be a light for people who are still in the dark, so that we collectively can learn how to love ourselves better, which will in turn make us love each other better.
Yeah. And that's what I'm here for too, I think. I'm just here to help people, to make people see how much better their life can be.
Hope and direction,
Yeah.
That's what I always say. That's why I named my first workshop Finding Your Compass, because I don't know what episodes you've listened to, but I I always say when I really stepped out of the masculine into the feminine, I decided to release myself from needing all of the direction tools like map. Like I was always like 2 maps, 2 GPSs, compass, atlas if you need it, whatever I needed to be able to draw out every step of the path. And then I don't have any, it's all, and there's no unknown in that, right? I'm going to draw it all out. And then when I stepped out of that and I was like, what is authentic to me? How can I honor who I am and what I need, but honor the growth that I'm supposed to go through? And I was like, a compass is okay. You need a little direction. You got to know which direction you're headed, but that's it for me. I don't get to know how this path is going to unfold. I know what destination I would like to happen, but I'm open to it may not show up the way I think it's going to, and it's certainly not going to show up the way it's supposed to if I am trying to control and micromanage every step of the process. So for me, I have to feel really just open, and there is still fear in that. Sometimes, even this morning, I thought to myself, am I shirking responsibilities? Am I not doing steps that I should take by being so surrendered and not feeling like I need to control everything? But then when I stopped to ask myself, like, well, what more would you do? If I were to do them more, I would become then again too busy to leave that opening for the things I'm waiting for to come in. You know what I mean? So I'm like, still, even though financially it's still pretty stressful, like I'm still just in the knowing that I don't know how, but it will all be okay,
Yeah. And that's my say. I said it to my husband today, actually, that the universe will always sort us out. And the amount of times that I've seen the evidence of that happening,
Exactly.
you can't not believe it. And the more that you say it to yourself, when you are fully in the knowledge that whatever is going to happen is going to happen, I can control as much. And a bit like you, I am a bit of a control freak, and I think that's because of the way that I grew up.
Absolutely.
I could control the things that I can control, but I've had to let go. And certainly having children teaches you,
especially one with ADHD. Let me tell you,
yeah.
I've got 2 boys with ADHD, and damn, I learned real quick. I don't actually get very much control over this.
Yeah.
I can't make you do what the fuck I want you to do, can I? I mean, I always knew I could beat them into submission if that's what I wanted to do, but I wasn't willing to do that. But that I knew with my second one, I wouldn't even be able to beat him into submission. Like that baby got a mind of his motherfucking own. He marches to the beat of his own drum. He always has. He's always going to. The best I can hope for is that he hears me when I'm trying to educate, and that I learned like I have to just pump him full of the right information to be able to make these choices on his own, because I cannot make them for him. God knows I fucking would if I could, but I can't. And he's been my greatest lesson in releasing control, because I can only do what I can do, and I'm going to show up as who I am, and I am your mother, and I fucking love you so much, and nothing you do is ever going to make me not love you. Like I'm not going to shame him. I'm not going to guilt him. He is a human, and he is allowed to be human and fucking make mistakes. So how can he learn from those if I'm not like giving the right information after he makes those mistakes? Like, okay, so let's think about this, and let's think about this, and here's how the path opens up for you. It's not about being able to see everything so clearly. It's about a burning desire and just taking a step towards that desire, you know? But yeah, boy, raising children, it's like that whole thing, like where you go before you're a parent and you're like, I would never. And I love those memes that was like, and then I nevered like I had nevered before, because boy, all those things I would never do. I mean, not everything. Like I'm not beating my kids or, leaving them unsupervised and shit like I got, but like some of them other things like McDonald's or, electronic time. Listen, I know that it's not good for them. I know that, but I also know I have a real limited capacity to fight with people. So I've picked my battles, and electronics isn't one of them. I understand I could make different and even better choices for myself and my kids. I don't care. I'm just going to live and just like, you know what I mean? I'm just doing my best. I'm doing my very best. And that's all I can do. And that's not a fight I can have. I'm like, oh, I feel like we're kind of past that age. Like, cause I probably should have done that about 10 years ago and I didn't. So, I mean, I have made different choices for my 10-year-old, but
I
I'm
think
not
you learn.
steady,
You learn from like the first one.
So much.
My youngest, he's 11, and he's like, can I have a phone? And I'm like, no, because your sister got a phone and she made so many mistakes with it, so sorry about that.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so take it up with her. It's her fault.
Yeah, she taught me, so no, I know better now. I do better. So yeah, I mean, there were so many things, but I mean, honestly, I've become more relaxed with each child. Well, that was probably not the right word to use. I've been forced to surrender a lot as each child, because I mean, like I just went through that mental health crisis like a year ago. So, I mean, my youngest has had actually the absolute worst version of me out of all of them. But there was also so much learning in there that I did in real time that I'm like doing so much better for her than they got too, So now I can meet them where they are and apologize and say like, you're fucking right, dude. Because I notice that sometimes the tension between the older and the younger, like when they're getting a little more neat about something or whatever, and I'm over here like, don't dismiss her feelings like that. And he's like, the fuck, my feelings didn't matter when I was her age. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but that's not going to mean that hers don't matter. Okay. I know better. So now I'm doing better, and I'm real sorry about that.
Yeah, I think as a parent, apologizing to your kids when you get things wrong is the only way. Like it teaches them that actually we don't have all the answers, and sometimes we get it wrong, and sometimes life gets in the way, and sometimes you don't deal with things that are great. And the amount of times that like my daughter's said something to me, because she's a teenager, so some of the stuff that teenagers do is like mind-blowing. The amount of times I've said to her, I need a minute to process that, because I think if I respond right now, it won't be the best response that I've ever made. And
yeah.
Like I just walk out the room and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was real big on that. I can't engage in this right now, so I'm gonna go take some space. because I'm not going to be nice if I respond right now.
Yeah.
And I think where the pain from your parents being human comes from is that very first time their mask slips and you now see them for the human that they are. It feels scary because they're supposed to be superhuman, because if a car lands on us, they have to be able to pick it up off of us, or if the bear comes at us, they have to be able to wrestle it and murder it, or if a robber, any of the things that our wild imaginations are capable of worrying about as children, we believe in our core that this human, this superhero, is going to be able to save us and protect us from everything. And so when that mask slips and you go, what the fuck, you're Clark Kent and not Superman? What? How can you protect me if you're like me? If you're not better than me, bigger than me, stronger than me, you're not going to do any better of a job at fucking saving me from the robber than I would myself. Fuck. And it's scary. And they have to hold on to the fucking resentment and all that for so long. And so I do believe that, like, as they age and they understand, oh, I need so much forgiveness for my humanity. And you can offer that to them and then ask for that in return. Man, it's beautiful. That's when you can, like, make magic with your own children, is just to be like, yo, we're kind of in this together, actually. Like, I keep telling my kids, I'm like, no, dude, I have a vision for this family. Like, we're all going to change the fucking world. Like, y'all got your own shit, and, go to therapy and heal and whatever, and I'll keep apologizing. But when you're ready, dude, there's a stage for you that I am so excited to watch you guys be the light too, because I know none of this was unintentional. You know what I mean?
When they start to repeat your own words back to you, you're like, oh, my job
Best
here is
feeling
done.
ever. Yes. I'm like, you listen to me? Oh
Yeah.
God. Like, nothing feels better than one of my kids regurgitating back. Like, they went a couple weeks ago, my oldest was saying a lot, like, you just gotta not have expectations, da, 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 da. And that's pretty unlike him to say. And so that was something I had been saying a lot of, but more like just on the podcast and stuff, which he'll just like hear in passing.
Yeah.
But I was like curious, like, who's he been listening to? Like, you know what I mean? And then, like, somewhere in there, he was like, I don't know if this is like because I've been hearing you say it or what. And he's just like, verbally bombing all of it. And I was like, holy shit. I wasn't even talking directly to you, and you just heard me, and like, that makes sense. Let's not have so many expectations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, they listen.
So we've done a lot of anger management stuff, because obviously ADHD, the emotions just go everywhere. And when I first started working, I actually worked with a lot of people that had committed domestic violent offences.
Yeah.
So when my son, this is literally 2 weeks ago, and he was just like, you know what, you're making me really angry, I need to go wash my hands. And that is something that I think, because the cold water calms the body down, which stops the reaction. And he went off and he just like washed his hands for like 10 minutes. And then he came back to me and I was like, are you okay, Dad? And he was like, yeah, I was just feeling a bit angry with you.
I love that.
Bizarre, like tiny little things that they remember, and I'm like, yeah, washing your hands, that's good, it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when I catch my daughter deep breathing or something, I'm like, that's right, girl, you fucking take it. Or like the other day I was really down and she suggested to me what I've been suggesting to her, which is a dance party. And so, because I've been teaching her, like, emotions are just energy in motion, we got to move it out. Like, you don't want it to get stuck. Once you address it, then you have to move it out. And so she's like, Mama, do you want to do a dance party? And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. Like, great. I was so excited that she's been listening. Okay, Sam, I hate to rush you off, but I do have a client popping on. Thank you so much for coming on. I have loved this conversation with you. And if anything that you want me to send, like that you want to send to me to post, I will put it in the show notes. And I usually will make like a formal introduction before the episode. And that's where, like, I'll read any bios or any of that. So whatever you would like me to share about you before the episode, you just send it on, and I will let you know the day before when if I can let you know sooner than the day before, I will, but I will at least let you know the day before your episode airs.
Okay, that's cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, well, it's 7 p.m. here, so
There, it's only 1 p.m. here.
yeah.
Okay, well, good evening. Enjoy your
Yeah.
evening.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.